So, what are we doing today? We are doing two things today. We are starting with introduction to spreadsheets. That's number one. Number two, we are also importing a data, a CSV file. This is the CSV file that we are importing. We can now see the data inside. But this is not how it is going to look inside our spreadsheets. Why do they call it CSV file? It is CSV because the full meaning of CSV is comma separated value, right? Let me type it here. So that's what CSV mean. Comma, right? Separated, comma separated value. That's the full meaning of CSV. And what does that mean? It means that you have some file that are like this. So when you want to import it inside Excel or Google Sheets, you have to denote the kind of file you want so that it will be able to separate it very well. It will be able so that it will be able to separate it the way it should be. So when you import this now inside an Excel sheet or Google Sheet, you will not see comma like this. It will be in rows and columns. You will all see how we are going to do that later. So now we are starting with preparing data, right? So it is in preparing data that will be importing files. Then we'll do the first. I think we have two projects in this sprint. So hopefully by next week we should finish this sprint. The whole of ALX generally, we have done like 3 sprints. So by my calculation, I believe in the next 2 months, we should finish everything. 2 months, 2.5 months. Yeah, we should finish everything because it is what we have there now that we are now going to be focusing on since it contains everything that we need to do. And for those that have done it before, now it will give us more knowledge as to what we were rushing to do the other time. So that's that. Now, let's start with some definition, then we import the file. Now, we all know that we are opening a CSV file. We are importing a CSV file into our Excel sheet, all right? And as I've said earlier on, this is the file. I deliberately change it to text so that we'll see what we mean by CSV file. CSV file again means comma separated value file. Okay, you can see that you see comma, everything is separated by comma. You can see names here, right? Comma followed by age. What do you have as age? 22, 28, then comma followed by city, followed by occupation, then followed by salary. But you will not see something like this in Excel or Google Sheets when you import it into it. So those are things we are looking at today. But firstly, let's look at the definition. We are not really going much into it, but it's very, very important that we talk about, yeah, that. So as we have said again, we are starting with preparing data, right? Everything about preparing data. Now, we already should know what spreadsheet is. Now, what do we mean by spreadsheet? It is a digital file where data is organized in rows and columns. That's the meaning of spreadsheets. So, and examples are Google spreadsheets and what are they calling it now? And Excel spreadsheets, right? So those are examples of spreadsheet that we have. All right. So that is what spreadsheet is. A digital file where data is organized in rows and columns. So it allows you to enter and store data. So you can store data as text, numbers, and formulas. Also, you can perform calculations using formulas and functions. We have done some calculations before, right? So those are things you can do with spreadsheets. And you can also analyze and manipulate data using spreadsheet application like Excel or Google Sheets, okay? So that's that about the definition of spreadsheets. Now, what are the terminologies? So I will not go deeply because into all this, because the most important thing to me now is the importing of the file. So that's the major thing we are doing today. Now, what are spreadsheet terminology? We already know what cell is, right? The idea of A1, B2, all those stuffs. So that is what we mean by cell, right? So you can see A represents column, right? Columns are in alphabetical order. We are still going to see them again. And where that thing is, the rows, right? They are in a numeric order. So that's why you have, so now A1, for example, is an example of cell, right? So intersection between rows and column, that is what a cell is. Now, what do we mean by cell reference? So it identifies the cell by column and row. Yes, for example, A1 means column A, row 1. So you are referencing the cell. So that's the meaning of cell reference. So now column, vertical collection of cells, right? So that is what we mean by column. So you see cells that are labeled as A, B, C. So those ones are column. And row, they are labeled as 1, 2, 3. We are still going to see all those ones. Now, range. Range is just a group of selected cells, right? For example, you want to look for main. You want to look for main for a group of selected cells. Immediately you press that formula, you see that it will highlight that part that you are trying to find. So that way it is called, those parts is what we call range. Then formula, a user defined calculation, right? So anything can be a formula. So so you can use formula to do a lot of things. Now function, built-in calculation like sum, average. So those things are already embedded in Excel and Google Sheets normally. Then arguments, the input values for a function. For example, A1 to A5 in equal to sum A1 to A5. So now the sum A1 to A5 is the argument. Then worksheets, a single sheet within a spreadsheet, right? So, and it's not just one single sheet you have in a spreadsheet. You have many sheets. You will just begin to open it. But one single sheet is a worksheet. Why workbook? Workbook, the full spreadsheet file, which may contain multiple worksheets. So that's that. So now let me just quickly let's see if we can just quickly see some of the things we just talked about now. Yes, I guess it is good before we continue to see some of the things. Now, this is Google Sheets, for example. Now, if I open this Google Sheet, you can see all these A, B, C, D, E, F, and blah, blah, blah. Those are columns. And this 1, 2, 3, they are rows. Now, where you have my cursor now, let me just put something now, right? So how do we reference these particular parts where where I typed A? You call it A1, right? So intersection of the rows and column is what we call intersection of rows and column is what we call cell. So this particular part is what we call cell. So in this case, it is cell A1, all right? Yeah, that's that. I think that's the most important thing from what we have just talked about now. So let's move on. So yeah, let's move on. Aha. Let me talk about worksheets and workbook. No, we said a worksheet is a single sheet within a spreadsheet, right? And workbook is the full spreadsheet file. So now, for example, now this is a single sheet. You see, it is called sheet 1. I can add another sheet, right? This is another sheet now, sheet 2. Now, this is still my sheet 1. This my sheet 1 is known as worksheet, right? This is another sheet. This is also another worksheet. But all these worksheets, right? The entire file that contains all these worksheets is what we call workbook. Yes, that's what we call workbook. So now spreadsheet file formats. So what are the file formats in spreadsheets? Because we need to know the file formats in spreadsheet before we can, sorry. We need to know the file format in spreadsheet before we can uh, import file into it. Now, an example is .xls sheet. So that's Excel binary file, right? It's a kind of older format. So it is archaic these days. So another one is XLSX, the current Excel file format using XML standard. Then we have XLSM, macro enable Excel format. Then we have macro automated sets of instructions for repeated tasks. We have binary file. stores raw bytes. Then we have XML, self-describing language for structured data. We don't really need that is not even my focus for today. I just want us to know all these files, all these file formats exist. Now, text file formats used in spreadsheets. Most of the data sets will be in usually in this format. Now, example is CSV file, right? So that one is known as comma separated value. So that's comma separated value file. So that's an example of text format that you can have in spreadsheets, whether Excel or Google Sheets. Then you have TSV file, that's tab separated value. Then we have these files are lightweight, easy to share, and software independent. So ideal for long-term storage or data sharing without needing Excel. So now we also need to know what the limiters are in text files, right? Now, what do we mean by delimiters? Delimiters separate value in plain text file to organize data into columns and rows, right? So that's what delimiter is. You will see what we are talking about delimiter very soon. So now, these are examples of delimiter, comma. In the case of CSV file now, usually the delimiter is comma. You know, CSV file is comma separated value. So it is that delimiter. Let me go back to the CSV file I opened the other time. It is that delimiter that will give us a clue as to how these things will be separated. You can see name, comma, age, comma, city, comma, occupation, comma, salary, comma. So under that name, we have Alice, Bob, Charlie, everything, comma, then 25, which is age, comma. So that way, even without importing yet, you already know what will go into what, right? So yeah, that's what a CSV file is. So the delimiter here is the comma, right? So that comma is an example of delimiter. So that's just what I am talking about. So we also have semicolon. Semicolon is also, you can also have some file that the delimiter will be semicolon, unlike the one that we have comma separating it now. So we also have tab. The delimiter can also be tab. The delimiter can also be space, and the delimiter can also be pipe, right? So that's for delimiters. So delimiters allow text files to be used like spreadsheets, enabling storing, filtering, and analysis. So those are the usefulness of the delimiter. It makes it possible for you to sort, to filter, and to analyze data. Now, two examples of spreadsheets. So let's look at examples of spreadsheets. We have looked at the types of spreadsheets. We said we have Excel spreadsheets and we have Google Sheets. Now, example of spreadsheets. One example is budget tracker, right? You can have spreadsheets of budget tracker. Then we have students grade sheets. So you can have as many examples as possible. Now, are Excel and Google Sheets a spreadsheet? Yes, both are spreadsheets. In fact, both are the commonest spreadsheet that we know. So yeah, they are both spreadsheets. So that's that on the summary I want to talk about. Again, we are talking about preparing data. Now, let's now upload our data. So how do we upload data? So in the case of what we want to do now, we want to upload this particular data set into both Excel and Google Sheets. So let's see how to upload that data into both Excel and Google Sheets. And now, what is the data that we want to upload? I've already told us that it is CSV file. It is in CSV file. Again, this is it. CSV means comma separated file, right? You can see everything is separated by comma. So that's the file we are working on. Now, let's first upload this inside Google Sheets. Then we are now going to also upload inside Excel. So let's start that. Now, for you to be able to upload inside Google Sheets, it means you must have a Google account, right? So that's the first thing that you must do. You have to have a Google account. So you must have a Google account. Yeah. So let me just walk us through uh how to get to Google Sheets. Google Sheets is online, except you have it on your phone. So, all right, let's see how to go about it. It's because I have I have Google account already, and I believe all of us actually have we should have a Google account, Google Mail, right? So after, if you have Google Mail, I will send a link to us. But at the end of the day, if you have Google Mail, immediately you enter the link, it will take you straight away to this interface, right? So the moment it takes you to this interface, what you need to do is just click on this plus sign, right? I have clicked on the plus sign. I don't seem to know why this thing is not. Okay, let me just take this away to this. Okay, now you can see with the moment I click on the plus sign, now it opens a new surface for me. Now, what do we want to do again? We want to upload a CSV file inside this Google Sheets. Then we will also upload it inside Excel Sheets. So let's see how it goes. Now, if I want to do that, what do I need to do? I need to click on File. Now, this is File. Now, after I have clicked on File, what else do I need to click on? I need to click on Import. I am importing from my computer into it. So sometimes it's my, okay, you even see that now. So now let's click on Import. Now, after I have clicked on Import, you can see everything it brings out here. My drive, shared with me, recent, and upload. So it depends on where that data or file that you want to import is that you are going to click on. For example, if it is in your My Drive, if it is in My Drive, so you are going to click on My Drive. Now, if it is in Share with Me, you click on this. Then, but I want to upload actually from the computer, so I need to click on Upload. Then I'll go and browse where I have it on the computer. Yes, I have it in Documents. Yes. Uh, yeah. So this is it. It is a CSV file. So I've clicked on this. So I open. It is already uploading. Now you can see what it is bringing here. Yeah, data demonstration.csv. Very good. Import location. Replace spreadsheet. No, you don't need to do that. Now, separate type, separator type. So it want to, so I can click on the text automatically, but I don't want to do that. So since the file is CSV file, so I will click on comma. So it is a comma separated file so that it will import everything will be clean. So if I click on comma now, yes. So I want it to separate it with the separator type is comma from what I've shown us. Then I import the data. So let's see how it will look like. You can see, okay, you can now see how it looks like here. So we have successfully uploaded the file, the CSV file, and that is how to upload a CSV file. You can see the way it renders here. Now, compare the way it is in that your Google Sheet compared to where you have it before. This is where we have it before. You can see what we have here. It is comma separated file. So which one is neater? The way it is rendered in your Excel, in your Google Sheets, that's is better. So that's how to upload into Google Sheets. Then so now let's look at how I can upload to Excel. So now if I open Excel sheets, now this is Excel sheet. That one is a little bit different from how you are going to upload to Google Sheets. So now I can just click on blank workbook. So if I click on that, all right. So again, I go to file. No. Oh, sorry. Click on this. So what do we need to do? Okay, I go to data. So where do I want to get my data? I want to get it. You can see here where my cursor is, from text to CSV, right? So if I click on this, it is up. It is, let's wait a little bit. Yes, I've clicked on that. Again, my data is in documents. So I click on documents. So let me see where I have it in my document. So I have it here. So then I import it. So let's wait a little bit. All right, that's not all. So what do I need to do? I don't transform the data. I just want to upload it inside the Excel sheet. So load. So if I load, what we have, yeah, you can all see the way it is rendered here. So I have successfully uploaded it inside our Excel sheet, right? And you can see the difference between how to upload inside Excel sheets and our Google Sheets. So that is basically what we want to do today. So now I am going to stop the recording. If we have anybody, let me first stop the recording before we ask our question. So if there is anybody with question, the person can now